Hello everyone, my name is Ranger Elizabeth from the Parklands of Floyd's Fork, and today we're going to be answering the question, where is all the water on Earth? Let's take a moment to think about all the different ways we use water every single day. So let's think about from the minute you woke up this morning, what are some ways that you use water? Well, you might have taken a shower or washed your hands. Maybe you ate some breakfast or had a glass of water. Maybe you even did some dishes. All of these things that I just mentioned are ways that we use water every single day. So water, no matter where it is or what type of water it is extremely important to humans. So today we're going to touch on the topic of what are some ways that water exists on the earth, and what are the 3 states of matter? Alright, since we're learning about water, we're going to do a little experiment. Let's look at all of the water on the earth. So here's my globe, and we can see this blue all around the globe, and that shows us water. We also have areas on the top and on the bottom that are made of ice, right? And then even if we look more closely, we can see that there are even some lakes that are on continents. So we're going to talk about all the water on Earth and what different types of water there are. All right, so in our experiment, I've got this giant beaker here filled with water. And this beaker here filled with water represents all of the water on Earth, okay? But can we drink every single type of water on Earth? We cannot, right? We can't drink salt water from the oceans because it's not healthy for humans, and you can't really take salt out of salt water. So this beaker is going to represent all of the water that we can drink, so all of that fresh water on Earth. All right, so this represents all of the fresh water on Earth. This represents all of the oceans, or water that we cannot drink, so that we're going to set this aside. But with all of this water here, we can't drink all of the fresh water on Earth because lots of it is in forms that we can't really get to. So fresh water can be found in rivers, lakes, ponds, in groundwater, so underground, in glaciers, and in something called permafrost, which is really just moisture that's in soil. So we as a human can't really go to a glacier to get a drink of water. We can't really go to a river, take a cup of water out of the river and drink it. So there's lots of water that's actually unavailable to us. So out of all this water here, that's fresh water, I have to set aside a little bit of it, this much, which is the water that we can't get to, right? It's the frozen water, the water that's stuck in the ground. So this is the water that's accessible to us, that we can get logically, okay? But all of this water is not clean. A lot of this water is actually polluted. So out of all of this fresh water on Earth that humans can use for drinking, swimming, cooking food, taking showers, doing our laundry, really only about 1 drop of the world's water can be used by humans. All right, so just 1 drop. We can barely even see it in here, okay? So water on Earth comes in many different states. So let's take a walk outside and talk about the different states of water that we have on Earth. So water has 3 states of matter. It can be a solid, it can be a liquid, or it can be a gas. So when water is a solid, you might notice it as being ice. So I have here a water bottle that I've stuck in the freezer, and it is solid ice. You can even hear it if I click it. Okay? So when water is very cold, it becomes a solid, such as ice. When it is a medium temperature, just a regular air temperature, it will be a liquid, like Floyd's Fork Creek behind me, or the water that's in this cup here. So you might know that we use liquid water for things such as drinking, for food, maybe for showers or baths, to clean our dishes. Liquid water is extremely important. And the last type of water that we can see is in the form of a gas. And so this one, well, we can't really see it all the time, but we're really always surrounded by water as a gas. It's called water vapor. And it's what creates humidity in the air. It's what creates the clouds in the sky that you can see behind me today, because it's a cloudy day. It is also what happens when you go outside on a cold day and you breathe out, and it creates that cloud coming out of your mouth. So water can be a solid, a liquid, or a gas. When water changes from one state to another state, there's usually special vocabulary words about that change. So one of those words is evaporation. Evaporation happens when liquid water warms up and turns into a gas. While we can't really see it happening right now, while it is, here's footage from the creek a couple of days ago where creek water was warming up and evaporating into the air, and we can see it happening on the surface. You might also notice evaporation when you put a pot of water on the stove to boil. As it starts boiling, you see some steam coming up from the pot, and that steam is evaporation happening. Another word that tells us about changes in states of matter is condensation. And that's when water turns from a gas back to a liquid. So this is what happens when the gas gets cold and turns back into a liquid. So think about if you ever put ice in a glass of water. What happens to the outside of that glass? Usually it'll get some water on the outside and it'll get kind of slick and wet, and that's called condensation. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining me today as we ask the question, where is the water on Earth? Don't forget to work on the assignments that go with the video, and have a great day, and I hope to see you soon.